Welcome back to U.S. Farm Report this weekend. Joe Vaclavic and Matt Bennett joining us. Big week when it comes to Ag Outlook Forum from USDA. Matt Bennett's actually speaking at the Ag Outlook Forum this week and joining us from Washington, D.C. But, Joe, I want to start with you. The big news, really, what we were watching out of this Ag Outlook Forum is acreage. And USDA came out, 94 million acres for corn is what they're penciling in at this point, 84 million for soybeans, 9.9 million acres for cotton, under 10 million acres there. But when you look at this, are you surprised that USDA was so aggressive on corn acres right now?
I don't think you should be surprised. I think the trade clearly was a little bit surprised because the corn market sold off following that number. I suppose traders thought that maybe USDA would be just a little bit more reserved with its early estimate. But I'll tell you what, based on what we know about on-farm margins and budgets, it really shouldn't be a surprise. I've personally been kind of working in my head with a number that's actually higher than 94. So the 94, even though it was higher than pre-report expectations, I don't think should be a shock to anybody.
Matt, this was not survey-based, and that's something that we need to mention. Prospective plantings at the end of March, that will be survey-based. But you're at the Ag Outlook Forum right now. Did that 94 million acres for corn, did that surprise you?
No, it's actually the number I was expecting whenever it came to both corn and beans, 94 and 84. I kind of figured we'd be looking at around a 178. In all honesty, I think when you look at the economics of things, though, I really struggle to think that we're going to be below, for instance, the acreage we saw 2 years ago at 94.6. And so I thought Outlook Forum would come out a little bit conservative. I guess I was right on that, but I do think that the overwhelming trend should be higher from here, especially looking at what the economics have been leading up to this. Yield at 181 made some sense, but at the same time, I think at some of these higher acreage numbers, that might have to be dialed back at some point. Last thing I want to point out, 5 straight years, the actual carryout that they projected at this Outlook Forum, the following January, they were actually below that. So all the numbers need to be kind of taken with a grain of salt.
Joe, we've been searching for a story in soybeans. 84 million acres for soybeans down. Is that the story you think that can rejuvenate this market?
It could be a story, especially if the yields were to come in light. I think, though, that there is a narrative or thought out there that, hey, if the U.S. has a light crop, there's plenty of beans around the world, and the U.S. will just end up exporting less. And that very, very well may be true. At the same time, though, if we get into a situation where soybean acres are light, the yield's light, it puts a lot of pressure on South America to produce, or a little bit more pressure at least, and it will absolutely have price implications. So I do think that there could be kind of a lurking friendly-ish story here for the soybean market, given the fact that new crop prices are so far below production costs. We're clearly going to lose a lot of acres. That could be a story, bigger picture.
Well, we also saw chief economist at USDA, Seth Meyer, release his crop price projections for 2025-2026. Corn down 15 cents from the previous year. Soybeans down 10 cents from the previous year. Matt, when you look at these crop price projections, so hard to really paint an outlook for 2025 right now, considering we're still waiting for answers on tariffs. Are we going to see the president implement those tariffs next week? Are we not? There's a lot of uncertainty. How much stock do you put into these price projections from USDA?
This is essentially the third straight year that you're looking at a deflationary type environment for both corn and soybeans. So it's pretty tough to stomach, especially whenever you saw such big profit margin in 21 and 22 drive our input costs up as much as what they did. So, how much stock do I put into them? Clearly you've seen the market rally substantially from harvest lows as far as cash prices were concerned. We know that there's going to be ebb and flow with these markets. I don't want to get too down in the mouth based upon their price projections, but there's a lot of reasons why they can make these projections and essentially have some stock to put into them. So, we still have ample stocks as far as beans are concerned. But you look at corn, and it's a little different story. You've got a tightening world balance sheet, tightening U.S. balance sheet. And I guess in my opinion, I've got to think that maybe we'll actually come in above what we saw a year ago, or at least have the potential to based upon recent market performance.
All right. Well, even before the Ag Outlook Forum, we saw some price pressure in the markets. We need to talk about why, plus really what's happening with South American weather. We have an update on that. We need to take a quick break, and then Matt Bennett and Joe Vaclavic will rejoin us to talk more markets.